Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage. You are looking at a partially disassembled Singer 301A in, this is beige, or maybe there was another name for it. It's not light beige, it's another beige that Singer had. But the reason you are staring at it today is I wanted to talk about the package. I believe I mentioned in an earlier video that this machine, when I bought it, it was missing its cover. So the light fixture and the bulb work fine. It's not plugged in right now, but of course, when you turn it on, you don't want it shining at you in the face. So because this is a Singer, and because so many of these were made, I was able to go on the internet and find a replacement part. I either got it on eBay or Bonanza, I don't remember which. But it came as a kit. So when I say a kit, they didn't just send me this piece, they also sent me in a separate little bag. Maybe got it at Central Michigan Sewing. I'll have to go back and look. Anyway, it comes with the two bolts to attach this piece to the body of the machine, and it also comes with this tiny little clip and a little bolt, which is necessary, and it has its glass lens. So all of this was taken off as a set, and I purchased it. I don't think I paid terribly much for it. Again, forgive me, I'll have to go back and see how much it was, but it wasn't god-awfully expensive. As I mentioned before, Singers are some of the least frustrating machines you'll ever work on because parts and the ability to disassemble them, it can really be helpful, especially if you're new to restoring machines, or maybe you just have one of these and you want to restore it. There's a lot of good news if you have a Singer that was made in very large numbers over many decades, and that includes most Singer machines. They were a giant company once upon a time. Okay, so I wanted to show this to you all in terms of, okay, how are you going to install, how would you install such a thing? But it can also be helpful because a portion of this needs to happen when you change the light bulb on one of these. And fortunately, when you change the light bulb on a 301A, the only thing you have to loosen are the two big bolts and this piece, because the glass is going to actually be mounted on the inside of this. And so changing a light bulb is not hard. It's not particularly time consuming. You have two bolts, you take them off, you take this off, it comes down, and then you have access to the bolt, just like I do right here. This is a bayonet style, I'm pretty sure. You can still get the bulbs. I did take some isopropyl alcohol and I cleaned, if there's any dust, there's usually not much of anything on the bulb, but if there's any dust, you don't have to remove the bulb. You can just kind of clean the bulb off, not when it's lit. Make sure the bulb is not on. You don't want to do that when it's hot. But 99% alcohol will help clean the glass. It's not that you're gaining a lot more light, but the bulb can last longer if it doesn't overheat. And dust and dirt and oils can cause bulbs to get extra hot. They already get hot. And of course, there are also LED replacements for these. So actually, now that I think about it, I have a large supply of LED lights, and I might convert this one. But that's for a different video. What I wanted to show today is, okay, how are we going to put this back together? It is straightforward if you just think about it in sections. So before we go to attach this, which is the ultimate goal, we're going to be attaching it here, and we won't have light shining in our eyes. This is how it's designed to work. And again, we just need the two bolts. But first, I need to assemble the parts that go on the inside of this. So you can see there's a hole here, right here, but it doesn't go all the way through. This is a mounting hole, and it is for this. And I'll explain as we go through this what is this little thing and why is it there? It's connected to the glass lens. Now, as I mentioned before, for any of you who have the desire to work on machines, when you start taking things apart, I have down here, there's like a towel. You can get a thick, fluffy terry cloth towel. You can get a little tray, and then even put a little paper towel down in the tray. You don't want things like these little screws to bounce or go rolling away, because they're really tiny, they're hard to find, and it's going to really slow down your day or your project if you have to, oh, shoot, now I've lost the screw, now I've got to go and order one. And you probably can find one like I just did on this machine. But just save yourself the frustration and just plan ahead. Little screws don't weigh much, and if they hit a hard surface, they can bounce and go flying. I know this from my own painful experience, so learn from my experience, please. Save yourself the grief of that. Okay, so I'm going to take out the little piece here, along with the little screw. We'll get these out. I'm going to put them right here on my towel. You can see where I put them right there. Okay. Now, ignore these two bolts are actually the bolts that hold the top of the machine on, right? And they are about an inch end to end. They're about an inch long. These screws are not what hold the light fixture in or the light cover in. So let's get those out here. I don't want to confuse you with those. These are the screws that hold this light. In fact, they go almost the full depth of the machine head for some reason. So no worries about this thing coming off when you have it screwed in. But this is what I'll use to attach the whole thing. Let's see here. Go ahead and get those out for easy, quick access. Okay. So what are we going to do first? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to tilt the camera down so you can see better. Now, you see the little piece here I've got, right? Now, you'll notice that it is shaped kind of like an S, sort of. And obviously the end with the opening is going to line up with the hole here. But what does that mean? Notice that there's a little groove. You guys see that? I wanted natural light today to really be able to showcase. You see this little groove here? All of this, again, it's going to be on the left side, and that is where the light lens is going to go. So I'm going to take this piece and put it exactly where it was designed to go. Now you'll note, did you hear that? That is the sound of dropping something on the floor. Per my earlier suggestion. I don't really have enough depth here. I'm going to be changing tables soon because I don't really have enough depth to work properly. Okay, so I want you to see this at this angle so you can kind of get a feel for why we're doing this. Again, not hard. So you've got this. You want, if that's the shape, you can see that against the white background. It's kind of an S shape. You want the lower piece down with the hole opening. It's going to go just like this. Now, I'm going to put the bolt in, or the little screw. It's like a tiny little bolt. I'm going to put that in, and then I'll show this to you again, and it'll make more sense as to why it's shaped that way when we go to put the lens in. This is basically a clip. I know it's probably a little retentive on my part, but I always like to put just a tiny drop, nothing more, on a bolt when I'm putting it in. It's going to make the future, if I ever have to get it out of there, a lot easier. Okay, you don't need a lot, just barely any on there at all. Okay, let's zoom in. Let's get a shift in the angle here. We're going to zoom in so you can see a little better of what I'm doing. So we're going to take the little screw, and remember, this piece, you can see how I've got it here, and it wants to flop, right? You can see how I'm kind of angling this. So I need to line it up with the hole. Again, it's weighted, so it's wanting to tilt, but that'll go away as soon as we get the screw in. Where is my screwdriver bit? Here we go. Oh, good. I had the right size in there already. And I'm just gonna, and again, do not over wrench this, okay? You're not torquing lug nuts here, okay? So I'm just turning it, and as soon as it snugs, I stop. It's not going anywhere. It's good and it's snug tight, but it's not, crazy torque tight. Now, take a look at this. You see this? This is the clip, and of course it has some flexibility. And if you get out of my own way here, you can see, I think you can see, you see how it's meant to go. It looks like this, right? Now, if I put it in the other direction, it would not work. So always make sure that the part that's higher is facing down, okay? pretend that's your S, but you want this piece that is, one is up and one is down. I need a pointer. I need something to point with. Blah. Okay, so the piece with the hole is here, right there, and then it comes up, right? It kind of curves upward, and this end is higher. That's the end you want facing down. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so we've got that. Now, what's next? Well, what we need is our light lens, and that's why we're going to all of this effort. I really love that in 1951, and this would continue on through 1958, or no, 56 and 57 with the 400 series, and I think with the 500 series. I don't have one in front of me, but they were using glass. Later, they would shift to plastic for the 600 series, but I'm pretty sure they stayed with glass before then, and I like that. Now, this glass is kind of interesting. If you look at it, it's designed to slide. It's going to slot into place, but notice, it has a certain thickness to it. You can see where my fingers are going down in it, but then it gets really thick here. And Singer had another lens type that they used on their 99s and 185s models, and it has this sort of, it almost looks like a ball of glass or a half ball. And according to Singer, this was done to magnify, or I think that the concept was that it would give you more light. I don't think the laws of physics might, maybe it helps point the light. I don't know that you get more light, but I love the idea. Maybe there is something to it. Those of you who are visitors here in comments, if you understand the physics of light and magnification better than I do, and because I basically don't understand them at all. Okay, so here we go. We've got our light lens, and remember the light lens has to be, it's going to be basically, if I can turn things around here, it's going to be slotting, right? It has to slot, and you can see the round end here. Now, I'm going to come over here with my light piece, and I want basically this piece to slot underneath. And I think, if I'm remembering this correctly, because I've not done this in quite some time, normally what you do is you slide it in. I'm actually going to go back and loosen this. So don't loosen it too much or the whole thing will come out flying. But I'm going to come underneath and see if I can't remember if I need to put the glass in and then this piece, I just don't remember. So hold it up this way in case the thing comes out, it won't go falling. See if that will be enough, if I can do it with this, this metal piece in here, right? There we go. Okay, I've done it. And it goes in this way, and you'll see that there's actually, on this end, there's a place that stops it so it doesn't keep sliding away. And of course, the round end fits right over here on the curve. Now, we're going to come back and we're going to snug down this bolt. And again, don't over torque it, just get it snug because, it's basically holding the glass in place. Now, if you look, that's it. That's how you mount the glass. Now, remember the bulb's here. Now I can point to it because you can see what I'm talking about. The bulb is here, right? So when we turn this around, this is how your cover should look. Your light lens should be like this, and it's going to basically install this way, okay? And remember, you can't go straight on because if you do, the glass hits the bulb. So what do? You come under. And when you do that, the lens will actually sort of nest right underneath the bulb like that. Okay, so if you're trying to put this in, you're like, hey, because that can happen to you easily. You're like, hey, I think I figured it out, and I'm there, and I'm trying to put it on, and it's pushing, and the lens is in the way. That's because you don't go straight in. You come under, sort of like a 45-degree angle towards you. You can see me doing it, right? And there you go. And what's left? We just have our two big bolts to put in. Now, the reason this is relevant for changing a light bulb, as I said, when you want to change your light bulb, you don't have to do everything I just showed. This is me showing you how to reassemble the light cover assembly, right? So these two big bolts I'm about to put in, you unscrew those. And remember, when you do that, just like I'm going to have to do it when I install this, put your hand here and hold this. Do not assume that it's going to stay there, because when you take these bolts out, sometimes when something's been sitting, it might sit and you're thinking, oh, this is great. And then it goes smack and you'll either crack the glass or scratch your machine. But it's easily taken care of. You can also wad up like a small dish towel under here for extra safety if you want. But anyway, we are almost ready to finish the install. Again, I'm going to put just one drop on the end of the threads of these bolts, and which I just did, and that'll, and again, if you look here, you can see I only put the oil one drop on the very end of the threads. As I screw it in, it'll spread it over the rest of the threads. We're not oiling a car engine here. We're just basically trying to make sure that the next time, oh, wait a minute. I'm going to go ahead and put this in for you guys, and then I'll take it back out so I can, actually, I will wait for another video to show you about the bulb upgrade. We'll do that separately. All right, let's see. These are the screws they sent me. I hope they work. This one's working pretty good. And notice there's some play here, so you want to, again, make sure your screws are moving or you'll strip them, right? If it fights you, if it's like, when a dog has a bone it doesn't want to let go of, be careful. You don't want to strip the threads in the hole. So there we go. And it should work for you, and it shouldn't be fussy or fighting with you. And as soon as that screw stops, then you stop. Don't over wrench it. Again, I know I sound like a broken record, but okay. So we now have installed the light assembly, and those are the pieces that go to it. Again, I'll make a separate video on changing the bulb. That'll help for those of you who just have a burnt out bulb. And again, it won't be nearly as complex or not as time consuming as what I just did, but I wanted to show you how this whole thing comes about, because there are people who will come underneath and try to take out the lens, and they think that they can just get behind the glass lens, they can remove the bulb and change it. No, you have to take this out, but it's just 2 screws. It's not hard. It's very easy. Just take precautions that you don't ruin the glass or the machine when the part goes clank right on top of your machine bed, because it could. Anyway, hope that was helpful. Had some natural light today. I love natural light because it just makes it easier to show things on camera, I think. Thank you all for watching. If you have not, please subscribe to the channel. There's no cost. You can also click the little notification bell symbol, and it will let you know when a new video has been posted to the channel. Take care, everyone.